was the first of its kind. For a short time, it stood alone as the king. But times change. The ATV industry is anything but dormant, and Can-Am's competition was not going to stay silent forever. Now, the Maverick is in a tooth and nail battle for supremacy in the hypersport side-by-side class. Its competition had the benefit of using the Maverick as their benchmark. The question now becomes, can the Maverick hold its own? .101 horsepower is nothing to scoff at. When Can-Am first released the Maverick, the side-by-side industry was literally shell-shocked for weeks. Breaking the 100 horsepower barrier was such a huge achievement, even the most cynical critics pondered whether or not anyone would ever be able to beat it. What makes this 101 horsepower so pleasing is that it's produced by a gigantic V-twin mill. Now, there may be valid reasons to go with another engine design, maybe there aren't. It doesn't really matter, because this 1000cc V-twin produces tractor-like torque and one of the sweetest exhaust notes I've ever heard. Top speeds of 70+ miles per hour can be reached in seconds, and maintained as long as you dare hold the pedal to the floor. Sometimes an engine that produces this much bottom end grunt tends to run out of steam on top, but the engineers at BRP have geared and clutched the Maverick to keep the RPM right in the sweet spot. When it was alone at the top, the Maverick seemed perfect, but now that it's got some competition, there's a few things I've noticed I'd really like Can-Am to change. The first one has to do with the rider seating position. The Maverick is a departure from traditional performance side-by-side design. A far stronger focus was put on rider comfort and amenities versus true performance ergonomics. The entire middle section of the Maverick is, more or less, pulled straight from a Commander. The cockpit itself is identical. It's impossible to argue that the Maverick lacks creature comforts, but in terms of performance ergonomics, it leaves a little to be desired. A vehicle designed to be run as hard as this one needs to place the driver and passenger in the best possible position to absorb the inevitable impacts this type of riding will produce. This is an easy fix. Can-Am doesn't seem to have any qualms redesigning their products to fix small ergonomic issues, so I'd like to see them redesign the seating position on next year's Maverick. For now though, I'd like to focus on something that I begged for on last year's model. Our biggest gripe with last year's Maverick was the lack of power steering. A vehicle this big and wide with this much power was, for lack of a better term, a beast to control in rough conditions. Can-Am had power steering. We were baffled why they chose not to use it. The 2014 XRS model we have here doesn't just have power steering. It has Can-Am's tri-mode dynamic power steering. Its 3 levels of assist are adjusted by a dashboard-mounted switch. The difference between the 3 levels is far more noticeable than I would have expected. Low is best used for high-speed running, where the maximum amount of feel through the steering wheel is necessary. Medium seemed to be a good choice for most trail running, where rock and stump hits are common. High was absolutely perfect for hard running on a track, in deep mud, or anywhere you really needed those front wheels to stay exactly where you point them. I was very impressed with the on-center feel at all levels of assist, and I can honestly say this is the first tri-mode DPS equipped vehicle that could be run in high mode all the time with no issues. Our final area of discussion has to be suspension. The Maverick's TTA trailing arm rear suspension has been engineered to perform like a 5-link, but not be a 5-link. 14 inches of travel is now on the low side in this category, but Fox 2.0 Podium X piggyback shocks are among the trickiest ever spec'd on a stock side-by-side. The Maverick is extremely well suspended, and its suspension does soak up bumps like a sheet of Bounty on orange juice. But jumping back and forth between the industry's top 3 performance side-by-side only highlights that the Maverick could seriously benefit from some longer legs. When the dust settles, we're still left with our original question. Can the Maverick hold its own among this new breed of hypersport side-by-sides? From a performance and features perspective, absolutely. The Maverick lacks nothing under the hood and has more creature comforts than the other two combined. But when the rubber hits the road, the Maverick is lacking in a couple key areas. Now, these may be things that only the most aggressive drivers will even notice, but that's the thing about aggressive drivers. They know exactly what they're looking for, and they will not settle for second best. If you enjoyed this video, post a comment and let us know what you think. Then, click this link to subscribe and that link for more great videos from DirtTrax TV.